area. So yeah, welcome. My name's Cal Roberts. I'm the director for Area C, Long Beach. And I'd like to introduce you to our ACRD planning staff. Mr. Alex Dyer is the planning manager. And Charity Hallberg Dodds is our planning technician. And there's Kathy, who's put it all together. Kathy MacArthur is a planning assistant. This hearing is being held electronically using Zoom. It's being recorded and live streamed on our website. And I would ask staff to please provide direction and instruction on how to participate in this hearing.
Okay, thank you. I'll take it from there. And just to reiterate what Chair Roberts has said, thank you for joining us here tonight on this electronic public hearing, not electric public hearing. It's be an acoustic one. If you are watching on the live stream, we are live streaming this. So if you're watching on the website and wish to join the meeting, the details on how to connect can be found in the Zoom meeting invite document linked on the public hearing page. Just want to start by quickly highlighting some of the features in Zoom that will help you participate if you would like to, and talk about our process that hopefully will help keep the hearing running smoothly. If participating online, you have the option to turn on or off your video or mute or unmute your audio so other meeting participants can see you and hear you. These controls are in the bottom left of your screen on a computer if you're like me, or on the top right of a tablet or smartphone. Good segue into the please keep your audio muted at all times unless you're going to speak, if possible, just to reduce the background noise, which can make it hard for everyone to hear. There will be an opportunity to speak after staff introduce the application and the applicants provide some initial comments on their proposal. When the chair calls upon members of the public to comment on the bylaws, we ask that you either put your hand up or call out that you would like to speak. Once you have been recognized by the chair or by staff, we ask that you state your name and address followed by your questions or comments. There is also a chat feature access from the controls on your screen. If you would like to make a comment or ask a question at any time, please feel free to do so. All comments will be addressed by staff during the public hearing. So throw that in there if you have any comments or questions as we move along. The comments will be brought forward when the chair asks for public comments at that time. And then at the very end of the public hearing, there's always a final opportunity to be heard if you can think of anything else that you'd like to add. And I just want to add again to reiterate that the public hearing is being live streamed on the ACRD website, and a recording of the meeting will be publicly available. Thank you, Cal. You're muted still.
See, I was listening to you, I was muted. The subject of this hearing is bylaws P1416 and P1417. This public hearing is for two bylaws. Bylaw P1416 is a zoning amendment bylaw that would create the Comprehensive Development Clayoquot Wilderness Resort CDCWR district, and bylaw P1417 is a zoning atlas amendment bylaw to rezone the subject properties to the site-specific Comprehensive Development Clayoquot Wilderness Resort CDCWR district. If you have any questions or comments about any other unrelated topic, I would ask that you contact regional district staff after this hearing has been terminated. And would staff now read out the notice of the public hearing, please? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. A public hearing for residents and property owners within electoral area C, Long Beach, will be held to consider bylaws P1416 and P1417. Bylaw P1416 is a zoning text amendment bylaw that would create the Comprehensive Development Clayoquot Wilderness Resort CDCWR district to accommodate existing camping resort uses and restrict the location, siting, and density of all campground uses and campground amenity uses to the existing development footprint, with the exception of upgrades to the cookhouse and lounge structures, primarily within their existing footprints. Bylaw P1417 is a zoning atlas amendment bylaw to rezone the subject properties to the site-specific Comprehensive Development Clayoquot Wilderness Resort CDCWR district. The subject properties are legally described as Lot 451, Clayoquot District, District Lot 517, Clayoquot District, and that part of District Lot 1968, together with unsurveyed Crown Foreshore being part of the bed of Bedwell Sound, Clayoquot District. So the public hearing will be held by the director for electoral area C, the alternate director, or the chairperson of the regional district. The board resolution making this delegation, along with bylaws P1416 and P1417 and relevant background documents, are available for review online at www.acrd.bc.ca/events/29-3-2022. Planning staff are available to answer questions in person through email and or by phone during normal office hours, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Monday through Friday from March 16th, 2022 to March 29th, 2022, excluding statutory holidays. Now, during the COVID-19 pandemic, providing an opportunity for public input and safeguarding public health are top priorities for the ACRD. Consider written submissions as an effective means to provide your input. Anyone who feels their interests in property will be affected by the proposed bylaws will be afforded a reasonable opportunity to be heard. Options include participating in the public hearing by electronic means using Zoom video conferencing or teleconferencing, and or submitting correspondence to the ACRD. If you wish to participate in the public hearing electronically or by phone, full instructions to do so are available on our website at www.acrd.bc.ca/events/29-3-2022, or can be provided by contacting planning staff by email at planning@acrd.bc.ca or by phone at 250-720-2700. This public hearing will be recorded and live streamed on our website. Written correspondence can be submitted to the ACRD by one of the following methods. Hard copy delivered to the ACRD office in person, in the drop slot, or by mail to the planning department at the address below. An email sent to planning@acrd.bc.ca before 4 p.m. March 29th, 2022. Email correspondence will only be considered received if receipt confirmation is provided by ACRD staff, or a fax sent to 250-723-1327 before 4 p.m. March 29th, 2022. Again, fax correspondence will only be considered received if receipt confirmation is provided by ACRD staff. Now, all correspondence must be received by the ACRD no earlier than 8 a.m. on March 16th, 2022, and no later than 4 p.m. on March 29th, 2022. Correspondence submitted and or received outside of these parameters will not be included in the public hearing. That's it for that. Thanks, Cal.
Unmute again. Further, the purpose of the public hearing is to receive input, written, verbal, from any person who believes their interest in property is affected by the bylaws. The regional board will receive full minutes of this hearing before voting on the bylaws. Staff is taking minutes that summarize the issues raised. And when you have an opportunity to speak, please speak clearly to ensure accuracy. Now, would staff please introduce the proposal? Thank you.
Okay, I'd be happy to. I will bear with me a little bit here while I go through this. I'm going to start with the agency referral responses that we've received. So the referral responses received recommended that the rezoning application be approved subject to conditions outlined in the responses. I'd like to highlight a few of the responses here. Response from the Ahousaht First Nations expressed support for the amended rezoning application as submitted, which would create a site-specific zone that would accommodate the existing campground resort uses and limit the development to the existing footprint, with the exception of the required upgrades to the cookhouse and lounge buildings. And their support also extended to the modification of the restrictive covenant that would allow for the increase in capacity to 130 persons at the site. I also want to highlight the response from the district of Defino, which highlighted the need for off-street parking facilities in Defino, which I will mention later. That would be to limit the impact on public parking in Defino. A full copy of the agency referral responses is available for public review on the ACRD website and will be part of the public hearing minutes considered by the board. There were also 3 letters of correspondence received from the public ahead of the public hearing. Each of the letters relate to ensuring continued public access through the property to the Strathcona Provincial Park via the Bedwell River Trail. One of the letters that's included in the package shared previous correspondence with the resort developer and the province regarding maintaining public access. Again, a copy of the full public correspondence package is available for public review on the ACRD website and will be part of the public hearing report considered by the board. So the applicant's proposal, what we're dealing with today, the applicants intend to rezone the Clayoquot Wilderness Lodge lands, the former Clayoquot Wilderness Resort lands, and the licensed foreshore areas to a site-specific zone, a new zone that would be created by this bylaw, the Comprehensive Development Clayoquot Wilderness Resort, CDCWR district. And that zone would accommodate the existing campground resort uses and density and facilitate upgrades to the cookhouse and lounge structures. There would be no new development or increase to the footprint of the existing campground resort at this time, with the exception of those upgrades to the cookhouse and lounge, primarily within their existing footprints. The application also involves and began with amending restrictive covenant EX 012758 in order to support an application to the province for an increase in the capacity permitted under the current liquor licensing, and to increase that capacity, maximum capacity at the site to 130 people, including guests, employees, contractors, and service workers. A bit of history on this one. So following first reading of the bylaws, both bylaws, and after initial engagement with referral agencies and the Housat First Nations, the applicants did amend their original rezoning application to remove any reference to a proposed expansion of accommodation uses, and limited the application to only support the continued operation of the existing resort at the site, and to allow for the replacement of the buildings need to be replaced. An amendment to the zoning text amendment bylaw P1416 was drafted, and then to reflect the amended rezoning proposal, and that bylaw was amended and given second reading as amended by the board at their last meeting on March 9th, or the early meeting in March, on March 9th, 2022. Sorry. Bylaw P1416 with second reading, and bylaw P1417 with first reading, as well as a copy of the restrictive covenant EX 12758 are available for public review, again, on the ACRD website if you'd like to look at that. Last thing I want to do is just highlight the conditions of use that, or the conditions of approval that were applied to the bylaws when the ACRD board first considered the application and gave the bylaws first reading in October 2021. A number of conditions of rezoning adoption were confirmed. This is included confirmation of support from Housat First Nations would be first and foremost, and attached to the referral agency response package is a letter from Housat First Nations dated February 9th, 2022. And again, just to reiterate, that letter expresses support for the rezoning application limited to a new site-specific zone that would bring the existing development into compliance with the zoning, and modifying the covenant to support an application to the province for a liquor license increase from 30 to 130 persons on the site. An additional condition of approval was modification of the covenants, and an additional covenant that would be required. So that would be to modify the restrictive covenant to allow for a maximum of 50 guests and 80 staff, for a total of 130 persons, and to prohibit any land clearing or development within 30 meters of the natural boundary of the Bedwell River, with the exception of low impact access trails, and maintaining the existing improvements at the site. So the applicants have presented ACRD staff with draft covenants already for review, which is great. Adoption of the bylaw would be conditional on finalizing those restrictive covenants and registering with the Land Title Office. Typical practice for us is to deal with covenants following the public hearing and prior to adoption. So that would be the next step if the board were to proceed with this application. Another condition was approval of the appropriate parking plan to address off-street parking requirements in the district of Defino. As I mentioned, the district did highlight that in the referral response. Resort has previously provided information to staff indicating that they own a separate property in Defino that can handle long-term parking, and lease year-round parking stalls along the waterfront from a Defino marina. So staff will work with the applicant to confirm those details and provide the information back to the district of Defino to satisfy them on that need. Another requirement was the submission of building plans to the ACRD building inspector to confirm necessary health and safety requirements of the existing buildings that are on the site. The applicants are working with an architect who I know has been in long-term communication with the ACRD building inspection department. The referral response from the building inspector, as it's included in the package, indicated that they required the building plans in order to proceed with the occupant load calculation for the liquor license application as one step, and then also to look at those necessary health and safety requirements that I mentioned. So planning staff will continue to work with the applicant to ensure that this requirement has been met prior to recommending that the bylaws be adopted. And then the last one I just wanted to highlight here was confirmation of adequate water and sewage disposal facilities to accommodate the full capacity of guests and staff on site. The applicants have submitted engineer drawings for the existing water system and the existing sewage disposal facilities that are located on site. With this zoning now, there's no additional development or expansion to the systems planned as part of this application. Any future water or sewer system upgrades would need to meet the Island Health regulations, which again is noted in Island Health's referral response, which is attached to the agency referral response package. So I think that's you've heard enough from me rambling on. I think I'll leave it at that and pass it back to you, Kel. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that, Alex. Yeah, quite comprehensive for sure. And I guess my next question is, would the representative, I think that's Don, do you have anything further that you'd like to add to this?
No, I think that Alex and yourself have addressed it correctly. The intent of the zoning, of course, the rezoning was to bring a new zone that correctly captured what is on site right now. And there is no proposed new development at this time, with the exception of the two items that Alex raised. I think that we're very happy with how the process has gone. And in terms of, we're happy that we've been able to, through our discussions with the Houseit, to secure a letter of support. And of course, the resort continues to engage with the Houseit as we move forward. The only other thing I was going to mention, Bert Hick is also on the call. Bert is also a consultant with Clayoquot, and of course, Bert's focus has been the liquor license amendment. I don't know, Bert, is there anything else to add, or have we captured that? You're on mute still.
No, Don, I think you've captured it all. This started off some time ago. Alex and I first met in the office in Port Alberni with an application to increase the capacity, but this grew into a larger issue, a larger project. But I think you've captured it. Basically, this is, from my perspective, an application for capacity increase to make correct what actually happens there in terms of the number of staff versus people attending the resort. And I think that Alex has done a great job. His staff have done a wonderful job working with us through, I think, several years now on this application.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been party to it for quite some time as well. So, and I do appreciate staff's involvement and the care and so on that they've taken and dealing with Don as a representative to ensure that things are done properly. I guess now I'd like to know from members of the public, and I see there are a number of them here, and I'll call on you one at a time if you wish to speak, and if you wouldn't mind, state your name and address before beginning. We'd like to hear everyone wishing to speak for the first time before allowing second comments, and I will allow you a few minutes to talk about issues that you have. So the first gentleman that I see is Ken Vandenberg. Did you want to speak, Ken?
Yes, please. My name is Ken Vandenberg. I live at 453 Murray Place, Campbell River. I am a director with Strathcona Park. We just want to make a quick statement to the effect that the Friends of Strathcona Park's main concern is with the only public access from deep water in Bedwell Sound to the boundary of Strathcona Park. It passes through lands discussed in the zoning changes. And up to now, we've both Clayoquot Wilderness Resort and the provincial government have promised and provided public access. But we feel that it is important whenever there's a zoning change, proposed zoning change going on, like there is right now, to get confirmation that the proposed zoning change does not impair any of the recreational public access to the road through Clayoquot Wilderness Resort. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for that, Ken. Don, go ahead.
Yeah, I think I wanted to, I did have an opportunity to review a number of comments from the Friends of Strathcona Park and appreciate the comments that have been made. I wanted to reassure the Friends of Clayoquot, Strathcona Park that the resort continues to be committed to allowing proper egress and access from the park through Clayoquot Resort's lands, and also from the park and also into the park. The rezoning application will not impact that. I would also say that in the past, the resort has worked very closely with BC Parks to ensure that this commitment, it continues, that there is no issue. We've put in signage. So I don't see any concerns moving forward. That said, if the Friends of Strathcona Park would like to engage directly with the resort to address any specific issues around the access, then of course the resort is more than welcome to facilitate that and have that discussion. We appreciate the importance of this access, and we don't see any issue moving forward. But if there are concerns, by all means, please reach out and we can have that discussion and make sure there are no problems regarding access through this property to and from the park.
Well, thanks for that, Don. Yeah, I appreciate that comment. And again, that's between the Clayoquot Wilderness Resort and the Friends of Strathcona, which is important to allow public access to that in an orderly fashion. And I see a couple of more public, Jennifer Pass and John Milne. Do either one of you like to speak? Jennifer first, go ahead.
Yeah, I think Ken has basically said everything, and we know CWR has been very good about public access, and we really appreciate that. And it is just an ongoing thing that whenever there's a zoning application, I think it's really, really important for the Friends to show up and to say, remember the public access, because I think that is something that's very important. It's important for everyone to know that there is public access through CWR lands, because that is the only way. If you're hiking across Strathcona Park, you will often be you will end up in Clayoquot Wilderness Resorts, and then you have to get out by boat to Defino. So otherwise you'd have to turn around and spend a week or so going back the same way. So it is a really important public access for hikers. So thank you very much, Don.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Don.
Yeah, I'm just going to go. Thank you, Jennifer. I appreciate the comments, and I know that Clayoquot certainly understands the importance of this, and this rezoning does not or will not have any impact on that. But like I said, if there is any desire by the Friends of Strathcona to engage with the resort directly on any specific or ongoing issues around the access, please reach out to us.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much, Don.
Thanks for your comments, Jennifer and Ken. And how about you, John? Do you want to speak up?
I think they've covered everything that I can think of. I just want to say thanks to Clayoquot Wilderness Resort for being open with this. And, we've worked with them before. I think this is the third ownership since it started. And I appreciate the positive response here. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you for that. Much appreciated. I don't know if anybody else is out there that wants to speak, but I'd like to add a comment. As a former, and I haven't done this recently, former wilderness hiker, I've hiked the entire John Muir Trail from Yosemite right down to the Mexican border. So I appreciate it, and I appreciate the access to public lands, and I support that in its entirety. So thank you for that. Would at this point, would staff or any other applicant like to respond or be satisfied? Go ahead, Alex.
Nothing on my end. No, I think everything's covered off here. I was happy to see the discussion with the Friends of Strathcona Park, because I think that's an important part of this. So happy to see that, and don't have anything else to add. Thank you. Yeah,
thanks for that. No, I just want to make a comment that please be advised that members of the board of directors cannot receive any new information related to these bylaws between the end of this hearing and making a decision on the bylaws at the next board meeting, which is April the 13th. If any board member does so, the hearing would be invalidated and we'd have to be held again. And with that, does anybody have any final comments that they'd like to make? Bert, you're good, and Dawn, everything's good?
I'm good.
Okay,
I'm a hiker, so I love where the direction's going here.
thank you. And thank you, staff, for putting this together, and Kathy and Alex and Charity, much appreciated. And you guys are doing fantastic work, so it makes it easy for me, so, and for you as well. Thanks again, everybody, for attending. And with that, that's it.
You do, sorry, Cal, you do have to call for the first, second,
Oh,
and
yes,
third
yes, I'm
time.
sorry.
Sorry,
Yes, yes,
sorry to
yes.
interrupt you.
There any other comments? Hearing none for the first reading. Anything else? Hearing none, second reading? None, thank you. And finally, third reading. Anything else? Hearing none. Thank you for that. Much appreciated. And everybody have a good evening. Thank you.
And you declare this hearing?
I
terminated?
do. I declare this
Okay,
meeting
perfect.
over. Thank you.
Thanks, Cal. Really appreciate it.